Thanks for being with us live at 5. I'm Erica.Mokay. New charges tonight surrounding the January 6th insurrection. I'm going to show you what's happening here behind me. A woodpecker gets tangled in her hair. Second, third, and fourth grade, meaning these victims likely range in age from 7 years old to 10 years old. The people you're going to see in this story and the people all around us here, they have been training for months. The CDC is doubling down on its authority to issue a mask mandate for U.S. travelers. An August report by JAMA Pediatrics suggests the number of kids around the world experiencing mental health issues has likely doubled compared to pre-pandemic levels, with 1 in 4 experiencing more symptoms of depression and 1 in 5 experiencing higher levels of anxiety. Trending tonight, The Wizard of Oz is back in theaters for a limited run to honor Judy Garland's birthday. Garland starred as Dorothy in the 1939 film. We do begin with breaking news and a frantic afternoon on Kalamazoo's south side. Police swarming a home on Emerson Street near South Burdick today and issuing an Amber Alert hours later. Yeah, Andy, this happening in the middle of the afternoon. It's a nice day out, sending people running. Now, we do know, according to South Haven's police chief, there is no current threat to the public. We have 2 crews on scene bringing us live team coverage from South Haven tonight. Let's start with News Channel 3's Maria Serrano. She is live on South Beach. Maria, it was a handgun. They are also looking into the possibility of potentially more weapons. But at this point, only 1 handgun has been recovered. As Andy mentioned, that black Ford Focus has been secured. The police chief didn't think it had been looked through yet, so that is something that is still in the process. The chief also saying that she would have more information, provide us with an update later tonight, including that shooter's identity. So we are waiting to learn more about that.
Maybe a little thunder. I know a lot of people like to sleep to that. Just remember, sort of maybe open like this.
And not on a recording in real life. You know,
yeah.
Not on one of those CDs.
On those, yeah.
CD,
the Storm CD, of course. We all have that, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
1996 called. They want their CDs back.
Got rid of mine. Just give me a day or two where, you know, I'm not doing this all the time and where the air conditioner's not running constantly. I'll take it.
Yeah, and there has been an AC dilemma in my household.
Oh, no. Is it out?
So, well, I am ruling with an iron fist here that it needs to stay at a certain temperature.
Oh, I know how that
if we're
battle
adjusting,
goes.
there needs to be a compromise.
Well, I hope you're on our side. You want it colder.
Yes.
I don't know. I never win that battle. I don't even fight the thermostat war.
Listen, you don't want to be cranky. Living with me, not a good combo. On April 28th, 24 days after Officer Christopher Scher killed Leoya following a traffic stop in Grand Rapids, Leoya's parents are with their lawyer in Detroit to watch this decision come down. This is a live look from that gathering. Tensions and emotions are running high as Patrick's family waits to hear whether Scher will be punished for killing their son. This is a look at the podium right now. News Channel 3 is at the Michigan State Police News Conference along with reporters from all over the state. The case was sent to prosecutor Chris Becker's office 42 days ago. He says taser and body camera reports from Michigan State Police caused it to take him longer to come to a decision. We know Grand Rapids city leaders are also planning their own news conference after this decision comes out. That'll be happening at 5:30, and we will carry that for you live on air once it begins. On your screen now is a live look from Detroit. This is where the Leoya family is gathered tonight with their lawyer again to watch the prosecutor make and explain his charging decision. If he were to get that life in prison, though, he would have the possibility of parole. Prosecutor Becker also saying that Officer Scher has already turned himself in and is currently being processed. He believes that he could be arraigned as soon as tomorrow. Now, we did have a split screen when that announcement was being made, showing you what is happening in Detroit right now. You saw on your screen Ben Johnson, an attorney, and another attorney, Ben Crump, and the Leoya family. We are going to go live to Detroit right now, where attorney Ben Johnson is making a statement following this announcement.
Such as those that Mr. Crump and I will be.
Reaction, hard to read their faces here and find out if they're disappointed or satisfied.
Well, Andy, to tell you about this, I was mentioning that split screen and seeing their faces as the announcement was being made. I talked to Chris Yu, who is in Detroit, in that room with the attorneys and the families, and he said they didn't hear the announcement happen live because they were having an issue with the live stream. However, we do know that Prosecutor Becker spoke with the family prior to this announcement. He said it was a brief conversation, but that the family did say thank you to him. And of course, these videos and a lot of other evidence and investigative documents from Michigan State Police all led to this decision made by prosecutor Chris Becker today. It did take some time before he was able to come to this decision, made the comment that he did seek outside expert advice on what charges, if any, to bring in this situation. But again, ultimately announcing today, he is charging Officer Christopher Schur with 1 count of second-degree murder. Now, we do want to take you back live to Detroit. Attorney Ben Crump has arrived along with Ben Johnson. The family is there. Let's listen in. You have been watching live from Detroit. On your screen there was Kent County Commissioner Robert Womack, the interpreter for the Leoya family, Peter Leoya, Patrick Leoya's father, and attorney Ben Johnson talking about next steps. A couple things to note here, taking away. We did hear from Peter Leoya, the father of Patrick, who said that he thanked the prosecutor. He got the phone call about the charging decision around 2:55 today. That press conference, of course, started at 3 o'clock. He said his heart has been broken for months. This is Peter speaking. He was afraid that his son was not going to get justice in America. Now, speaking of those protests, we are expecting protests of any kind this evening. We go live now to News Channel 3's Allie Jenner-John. She is stationed outside of Grand Rapids Police Headquarters, where we can see barriers are up. Allie, what is happening there? Yeah, again, you see those barriers outside of the police station, and you were also able to see just beyond those barriers the words Black Lives Matter. Now, we do know, as Andy mentioned, not a lot happening so far at Rosa Parks Circle. However, we are anticipating that there will be some sort of protest starting at 5 o'clock. Of course, we will monitor that for you. We also know that there will be a press conference held by Grand Rapids city leaders at 5:30. Of course, you can look for continuing coverage of that here as well.
This has been a News Channel 3 update.
Parents see no end in their search for baby formula as families across the nation struggle to feed their newborns. Hear what local companies are doing to try to save the day. Investigators say the suspect, who made serious threats in a South Haven neighborhood, is possibly armed and on the loose. News Channel 3's Erica.Mokay joins us live at the South Haven Police Department to tell us if investigators know where this suspect is. Tricia. Well, a driver is trapped after a car goes down an embankment and into a retention pond this afternoon. It happened in Kalamazoo off the I-94 ramp near a roundabout on Sprinkle Road. The car was flipped over in the water when first responders arrived. A city spokesperson says the driver was hurt, but no word on the extent of those injuries. A wrecker had to pull the car up out of the embankment. We are still working to learn what led up to this crash. A downtown Kalamazoo daycare and preschool program right next to Bronson Park is closing down effective immediately. We incorrectly reported yesterday the closure was to take effect July 1st. The child care center at First United Methodist Church says it doesn't have the staff to stay open despite efforts to recruit and retain workers. We are now taking a live look at a pretty sunny Kalamazoo. Temps in the 70s today, quite different compared to the past 2 days. Chief Meteorologist Keith Thompson joins us live now in the Weather Alert Center to let us know how long this cooler weather is going to be sticking around. Keith. All right, Keith, well, fraudulent signatures shake up plans for groups in Lansing trying to get issues on Michigan's ballots. More than half a dozen organizations had their deadline to turn in those petitions today. Now, 2 other groups also failed to turn in their signatures today. Unlock Michigan's initiative is a response to the COVID-19 pandemic, which would have taken some emergency powers away from public health officials. The DeVos-backed Let My Kids Learn group was pushing to let donors claim tax breaks on their gifts to private schools. A woman attacked in the New York subway sues the maker of the gun used to shoot her. Coming up, why she says the company's marketing is to blame. The man suspected of carrying out a racially motivated massacre in Buffalo, New York, faces new charges. A grand jury has indicted 18-year-old Peyton Gendron for domestic terrorism motivated by hate and 10 counts of first-degree murder. Investigators say he targeted the Tops grocery store where he knew there would be mostly black shoppers. Gendron has been in custody since the May 14th shooting. He is scheduled to be arraigned tomorrow. The suspect was previously indicted for first-degree murder. He has pleaded not guilty. Well, check this out. It's dramatic video from Arizona. Boaters captured the moment a massive rock slide happened. You can see the huge slab of rock crashing into that water below. And 80 years after one of the greatest tragedies from the greatest generation, an unimaginable homecoming. In 1941, Joe Nightingale, a 20-year-old from Kalamazoo, was killed in action when Pearl Harbor came under attack. For years, his remains, like hundreds of others killed that day, were unaccounted for. Until now. Tonight, the late sailor's family is giving News Channel 3 an exclusive look at the process to finally bring Joe home.
Joe and I were pretty close when I was growing up.
Charles Nightingale was just a kid the last time his brother Joe was home.
That might have been one of the last photos they had together.
In 1940, his older brother enlisted in the Navy, reporting for duty on the USS Oklahoma.
I remember him very distinctly. He was very precious to me.
On December 7th, 1941, Seaman First Class Joe Nightingale was one of the 429 sailors and Marines on the Oklahoma killed in the attack on Pearl Harbor.
Hi, so good to meet you.
Nice to have you with us.
Nearly 80 years later, Charles and his family are getting a precious opportunity they never imagined possible. Since 2015, the U.S. Navy and Department of Defense have been working to identify the remains of crew members killed on that day, which will live in infamy.
At the time, no one ever thought we would come this far with science and DNA.
To date, the remains of 355 men who served and died on the USS Oklahoma have been identified.
Luckily, we do have this handsome guy right here,
including Joe's.
We've been waiting a long time for this.
Using a DNA sample from his brother, Joe's remains were recovered from a mass grave in Hawaii.
These are dental remains.
His remains, including a portion of his skull and shin bones, will now be brought home to Michigan. Memories of Joe now include remarkable illustrations representing his service, enlistment papers, medical records, even the telegram dated February 17th, 1942.
And he was therefore declared to have lost his life in the service of his country.
Informing family of his passing 73 days after the attack. Joe was 20.
I would have been in Korea if Joe hadn't died. But because he died, I was the only one to carry on the name.
Though physically, this Nightingale may have been gone for decades, his name, sacrifice, and legacy will never be forgotten.
It kind of brings an end to everything, closing to everything.
We thank Joe and his family for their service. Right now, Joe Nightingale's remains are at an Air Force base in Nebraska. Soon, they will be escorted to Michigan, where on December 7th, exactly 80 years after his death, Joe will be laid to rest at home in Kalamazoo County. Of course, we are saluting all veterans today. Share memories of your loved ones with us on our Chime In page. Just head to our website, wwmt.com, and click on the Chime In tab to upload your photos. Yeah, for days we have been working to get those answers on behalf of taxpayers who pay the superintendent's salary. Our first inquiry to a KPS spokesperson regarding the whereabouts of Dr. Rita Chowdhury got a vague response, telling us she's on vacation but working virtually out of the country. So we kept pushing. A simple question sent to News Channel 3. Where is KPS Superintendent Dr. Rita? On social media, some saying they suspect Chowdhury is on a 7-week vacation, but working remotely. Some parents saying attempts to reach her by phone and email have been unsuccessful. Instead, receiving this automatic reply, directing people to contact her secretary. Teachers also have questions. A source closely connected to KPS teachers telling us many are frustrated and asking for transparency from their boss. Chowdhury is now well into her 3-year publicly reported 6-figure contract with the public school district. She was reluctant to answer our questions as well, but says she made her team aware of her absence and that other school leaders could handle day-to-day issues. The district's chief executive denied being gone for 7 weeks, instead saying she left during Thanksgiving break with plans to return before the end of winter break, January 3rd. She also wouldn't confirm where she traveled to, saying her personal life is no one's business. With several recent incidents of violence and threats of violence within the school district following the deadly Oxford High School shooting, the timing isn't sitting well with some parents who tell us it is their business. Wright Chowdhury continues to defend her time off, saying she is using her contractually earned vacation days in conjunction with scheduled district-wide breaks. She adds she has been in communication with the school community when necessary, like this recent post on the district's website. We repeatedly asked Wright Chowdhury for a Zoom interview or an official statement. She has declined both requests. Wright Chowdhury said via email that, quote, "The board employs me, not the community. They are entitled to know the details of my time off, not anyone else." We have also reached out to the board president and vice president regarding the absence. As with all communications, we were referred to the district's communications director, who is also on vacation. It's the season opener for the Gold team in South Haven.
1, 2, 3.
Gold Nation!
But the game almost didn't happen.
We didn't really know if we were going to be able to have this season for baseball.
Less than 2 weeks before their big Little League debut, their coach stepped down,
Good, way to keep it in front.
refusing to let their boys miss out.
Put them too high.
A group of moms
2 out, we're running hard.
They know that we're going to be there no matter what for them.
We got this, all right? 1 more out.
stepped up to the plate.
I was kind of hoping she would be coach because she taught me basically everything I know about baseball.
Yeah!
Now 5 women deep in the dugout. This coaching staff would likely argue they're not quite angels in the outfield.
Go, dig!
But to these 11 and 12-year-olds,
We're going! Hard!
They're all really good coaches.
they're pretty darn close.
I'd say the thing she's best at is probably encouraging us as a team and bringing us together.
There you go! Nice job!
Of course, they're not the first women to ever teach boys about baseball,
I want them to have fun.
and they certainly won't be the last.
And if they get a little bit better by the end of the year, then I've done my job. Go, hard!
Regardless of stats or scores, their efforts have already earned them a spot in a very special Hall of Fame. Just ask their sons.
She's probably the best coach and the best mom I could have.
Reporting in South Haven, Erica.Mokay,
1, 2, 3.
News Channel 3.